How's my hair? All right, so today we're going to install the engine risers. I make these for multiple Toyota chassis. They're for pretty much all Cressidas and Celica Supras, Mark II, Mark III, Mark I, bunch of Celicas, Coronas, all kinds of stuff. You've got the engine risers, sticker, some nuts. The nuts are optional to use. Most applications, I would say just use your stock nuts. Get rid of the washer and just reuse your stock nut. But on certain applications, I think I ran into it on Z20 Soarer and Mark III Supras, they use a flange nut, so you can't get rid of the washer, so you need to use the nut that's provided. But yeah, let's go over the tools and stuff. To do this job, you don't really need much. You need a 17 mil wrench. You'll need a 19 as well if you're using the nuts I've provided. Sometimes a pry bar, sometimes not. And on certain applications, particularly like any M series engine that's carbureted with a mechanical fuel pump, you'll need to take the mechanical fuel pump off of the block, which I believe is 2 12 mils. So you'll need a ratchet and extension and stuff like that. But no specialty tools, all pretty simple stuff. And yeah, so I guess we'll get rolling on it. I guess you'll also need a floor jack and a block of wood. So step one is to get the left side engine mount nut off, which is located, let's see if I can point at this thing. It's kind of funny. Located right down here. So once you've got the nut off, take the washer off, you'll probably need a little magnet of some sort, and then it's time to jack the engine up. So the next thing you'll need to do is jack up the engine, just with a floor jack and a block of wood so you don't dent the oil pan. So you slide down there. So when you're lifting it up, you want to make sure you don't lift it too high, that the end of the stud pops all the way out. You want to lift it up just so that the stud is kind of flush with the engine mount bracket. Something like that. Okay, so the next step is you have to slide the engine riser right here into this slot that the locator hole or the locator pin goes through one of these holes. So this just kind of slides in like that. More difficult parts, I guess, is trying to get the nut back on this side. This is an issue that's only really on M engines on the intake side, but because there's fuel line stuff in the way and whatever, but sweet. So next step, once you've got the first side engine mount tight again, engine is dropped down back on its weight, then you take off the second side engine nut. So now that the engine riser nut is off, next step is to lift the engine up again. So you've got a bit better view on this one. And so sometimes it gets hung up a little bit. You just have to get in there with like a little screwdriver or a pry bar or something and just kind of wiggle this around. So we'll try to slip this in and we're in. But yeah, sometimes the second one likes to catch the stud, pulls the engine mount on a bit of an angle, and that makes it tough to get the engine riser in. Fortunately, this one went pretty easy, but yeah, having a little pry bar or screwdriver helps a lot, just to wedge this up a little bit to get all the clearance you need. But yeah, let's drop the engine back down. In there, sitting nice and flush. Nut goes back on. So with the washer removed and the original nut. So as you can see now, the oil pan is nice and safe up above this. Now, mind you, these won't protect you from if like a rock impact or if you hit something serious on the road. But when it comes to road crown and stuff, like I know around here and in a lot of places, there's pretty hefty road crowns. So if the road's uneven, like your cross member is going to hit the ground first, way before this. Like you'd have to ruin your cross member before the oil pan would ever touch. The big advantage to this over having a skid plate is if you add a skid plate, it just reduces your ground clearance, gives you a new low spot to scrape. Whereas with the engine raised up, you've essentially changed your low spot or your scrape point to a different area of the car. And that's kind of the goal, is to keep raising different components and until you're scraping something that doesn't matter as much. So that's kind of what we've done here. We've changed our scrape point from the oil pan to the cross member. You can buy these and more at rudeboyspecials.net. Cut!